It didn't happen in a single moment, no dramatic outburst, no final goodbye. It was quieter than that. One morning he just stopped explaining himself, stopped correcting people who twisted his words, stopped trying to prove that his silence wasn't arrogance. He just let them misunderstand, because he finally realized that being understood was the most overrated desire a man could have. The world doesn't want to understand men like him, it wants to define them. And once they define you, they own you. So he chose the lonelier path, to walk unseen, misread, but utterly free. The more you explain, the smaller you become in their minds. Most men spend their lives screaming to be seen, craving to be understood. They wear their pain like badges, explain their intentions like lawyers, and beg for empathy like currency. But the Sigma male? He used to do that too until he realized that understanding rarely leads to peace. In this world, people don't seek to understand you so they can connect, they do it so they can categorize, manipulate, or neutralize you. The Sigma learned that the only thing more exhausting than being misunderstood is trying to fix it. So he stopped. He withdrew from the endless need to be validated and discovered something colder but cleaner: freedom. They can misunderstand your silence. Just don't let them shape your truth. 1. He realized understanding is often just control, disguised as empathy. People don't always want to understand you, they want access to your weaknesses. They ask questions to study your soft spots, not your soul. The Sigma learned that when you explain yourself too much, you're handing them the blueprint to control you. The moment they know what drives you, what breaks you, what you crave, they own you. So he stopped giving away the map. He learned to smile without revealing meaning, to act without explanation, to move without justification, because when they can't predict you, they can't possess you. Once they know what calms you, they learn how to control you. 2. He stopped mistaking understanding for connection. He used to think that being understood meant being loved, but love built on understanding is fragile. It survives only as long as they agree with your reasoning. The Sigma learned that true connection doesn't need translation. It's felt, not analyzed. People who truly see you don't need the subtitles. So he stopped trying to justify his solitude, his discipline, his silence. If they couldn't feel his essence, no amount of explanation would help. Connection born from comprehension is conditional. He prefers the kind that just exists, wordless and rare. If you have to explain your soul, they weren't meant to hold it. Before we proceed to other points, if you like the content, consider subscribing to Soldiers of Almighty and check out our memberships. We have a bunch of videos at just 20 cents per month. 3. He learned that silence is a stronger language than words. Every time he explained, he diluted himself. Every word became a negotiation, a plea for understanding that only left him emptier. So he stopped using words as crutches. Silence became his statement. When people misread him now, he doesn't correct them. He lets the misunderstanding do its work. Silence unsettles people who thrive on attention. It exposes their insecurity. For him, silence isn't withdrawal, it's presence sharpened to a blade. He doesn't speak less because he has nothing to say. He speaks less because the noise around him no longer deserves his voice. Silence never lies, it only reveals who can't stand the truth. 4. He stopped explaining his absence to people who never earned his presence. The Sigma used to apologize for disappearing, for needing space, for not answering calls, for vanishing when his energy ran dry. But one day he realized he didn't owe anyone an explanation for self-preservation. The world demands availability, but constant access is slow suicide. He learned that the people who deserve his time won't demand it, they'll respect it. So now when he disappears, it's not avoidance, it's maintenance. His absence isn't rejection, it's reclamation. And those who understand that don't need to be told. If they need an explanation for your peace, they were part of your chaos. 5. He understood that most people don't listen to understand. They listen to respond. He used to open up thinking someone would finally get him. But he learned that most people don't want to hear, they want to reply. They listen to find themselves in your story, not to meet you in it. And that realization killed his need to explain. When people listen only to speak next, understanding becomes impossible. So he stopped handing his truth to deaf ears. He saves his words for silence, his energy for purpose, his truth for himself. Let them keep their opinions, he keeps his peace. They don't listen to know you, they listen to locate themselves inside you. 6. He saw that the world rewards noise, not depth. He used to think depth would earn understanding, that if he spoke clearly, people would see the layers beneath his stillness. But the world doesn't reward depth. It rewards noise, performance, and speed. He learned that silence and depth make shallow people uncomfortable, not curious. They don't lean in to understand. They retreat to protect their illusion of confidence. The Sigma stopped expecting the shallow to understand the ocean because he realized they only fear drowning in what they can't control. He no longer wastes breath simplifying his complexity for surface-level thinkers who only skim through life looking for reflections of themselves. If they can't swim in his silence, they were never built for his depth. He's done diluting himself just to be digestible. He refuses to drown in shallows he's already outgrown. Depth isn't a performance for him anymore. It's oxygen. And those who can't handle it sink on their own. You can't explain the ocean to someone afraid of getting wet. 7. He realized that misunderstanding is freedom in disguise. There's power in being misread, and he learned it the hard way. Every wrong story they told about him became another wall he didn't have to build. The manipulators lost their script, the critics lost their certainty, and the ones who tried to feed on his energy starved. He stopped correcting rumors because he realized correction is attention, and attention is fuel. Let them talk, he thought. Every false version of him becomes another decoy. The truth stays locked inside where no one can twist it. The world can only strike what it understands, and because they can't read him, their weapons miss every time. Being misunderstood used to feel isolating. Now it feels like armor. Confusion became his camouflage, and in that distortion, he finally found something solid: clarity without exposure, peace without performance. Let them get you wrong, it means they're not close enough to hurt you. 8. He accepted that not everyone deserves the full story. There was a time when he tried to make people see the full picture, the reasoning, the history, the struggle behind every decision. But then he realized most people only want fragments they can twist into gossip or judgment. So now he gives them half-truths, just enough to end the conversation. The rest stays sacred, stored behind calm eyes and quiet rooms. He learned that protecting your story is protecting your power. Transparency is for those who've earned trust, not for the curious or the careless. Not every listener is safe. Some are thieves disguised as friends. 9. He discovered that clarity isn't always peace. He once believed that if people truly understood him, the storms in his mind would finally quiet down. But he learned the brutal truth. Clarity doesn't always bring peace. It often brings chaos. Every time he revealed his thoughts, they were dissected, twisted, turned into leverage. His honesty became a weapon in someone else's hands. He watched how easily people took truth and turned it into gossip, confession into ammunition. That was the day he stopped explaining. He realized that some things lose their power the moment they are understood. So now he keeps his silence sacred, his thoughts encrypted. Privacy isn't distance, it's defense. He chose the calm of being misunderstood over the war of being known. Because peace isn't found in being seen, it's found in not needing to be explained. Peace doesn't come from being understood, it comes from being unbothered. 10. He realized that a man who needs to be understood will always be owned by opinion. The Sigma's final realization was the hardest. The need to be understood is just another form of dependence. When your peace depends on someone else getting you, you're no longer free. The world will never understand a man who doesn't play its games, and that's the point. He stopped trying to be decoded. He stopped defending his contradictions. He accepted that misunderstanding was the tax of individuality. The less they understood him, the more untouchable he became. Because only men who need to be understood can be destroyed by judgment. The need to be understood is the leash disguised as connection. On a final note, the day the Sigma stopped wanting to be understood was the day he started living on his own terms. He realized that peace doesn't come from being seen, it comes from being free. Understanding is cheap, freedom is earned. So he let the world keep its opinions, labels, and definitions. Let them misunderstand. Let them invent their versions of him. He doesn't need to be known, he just needs to be real. Because when you stop needing to be understood, you finally understand yourself. The world will never get you, but it's not supposed to. You were built to be felt, not explained.